In this video, I'm going to be showing you Rendair AI. This is an AI workspace for architects that offer numerous tools for implementing AI in your workflow. Let's go. Now, if you don't know, Rendair AI is a workspace for architects that utilizes, well, of course, AI. Now, not too much time has passed, but they have improved the platform quite a bit. We have a lot of new tools and, more importantly, new workflows. So I'm going to be testing all of that out in this video. I'm going to be showing you the new apps they have. I'm going to be showing you the new board workflow and some of the new tools. One of them is going to be creating a 3D model out of an image and then loading that into Revit. It's really amazing. Now, to check out Rendair AI, I'm going to link it up in the cards above and also down in the description of this video. There you can check it out, and full disclosure, this is a sponsored video. Now, in collaboration with them, we have decided to do a giveaway. So please check out the rules of the giveaway in the first pinned comment just below this video, and follow those rules, and you can possibly get 1 month free Rendair Pro. So it's a really good way to test out all of the features and get some really good use out of it. So now, without any further ado, let's jump straight into Rendair. And here we are at Rendair AI. As you can see, it runs in the web browser, so there is nothing to download, nothing to install. You just go to the website, you sign in, and you can use it right away. It's not going to take up any processing power from your computer while you're using it. I'm just going to bring up Revit here, and you can see this is just our project one from our course. And here we have just an interior scene, very simple, very kind of basic. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take a quick snip here. So just take this 3D like so. So no need to even export. I'm just going to save this on my desktop for now, just like that. And then let's do the same here for the floor plan view. So again, for the floor plan view, I'm just going to take another snip like this. So very straightforward, very easy, very simple, and yeah, there we go. So we have taken out this information out of Revit, and then I'm just going to go back into Rendair, and let's now bring it over here. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go down here to upload image, and then I'm just going to use one of those images. So let's take the floor plan first. So I'm just going to open that up, and as you can see, we bring this image into the canvas. Now in the canvas, you can scroll up and down. You can use this as the selection tool, which is this one over here. We also have a hand tool, which is kind of for panning. But what I prefer to use, which is most intuitive for Revit users or AutoCAD users, is just holding the control key, and then you can zoom in and out and just navigate that way. So anyways, we have this image here, and now let's say we want to generate a 3D floor plan from this image. So what I'll do is I'm just going to right click, go to apps, and then here we have options to create. So one of the options is floor plan to render. So I'm just going to click on that, and it's going to open up this block basically, or this app, just like so. So here it is. You can kind of make it smaller or larger if you want. You can also kind of zoom in and out, and you can scroll through this. So we just want to connect our floor plan to this floor plan to render node. And then here we can add a prompt, or we can pick out a style. So we have 3D realistic, realistic, illustration, and you can pick out any one of these that you like. Here we can also pick out the image size. So for this, I'm just going to keep it simple. Let's go with 3D realistic, and that should be it. Let's click on generate, and now it's going to start working on generating that image, which is going to appear over here. Now you don't have to wait for this image to be generated. You can just continue working on your board. So I'm just going to go here to upload images, and then I'm just going to upload this 3D that we have. And while I was doing that, as you can see, this process is already done, and here we can see that 3D render, and as you can see, it looks pretty interesting. So this is what we've got from this very simple image. So it's a very quick way to create some impressive images. We know for people that are not architects, so if you're just presenting your floor plan ideas, something like this may be a lot more attractive to them, just because it adds a little bit of depth, and people can get confused on plan views if they don't have any experience with architecture and reading plan views. So then let's move forward to this image here that we have, this 3D image. So what I'll do now is, again, I'm going to right click, explore some of my apps, and then let's go with the sketch to render or image to render. I'm actually going to go with image to render for this one. So again, we have this node. We should definitely connect these just like so. Now here we have some other options that we have that we can use. So for example, the style, here we can set it up to one of these. I'm just going to go with realistic. That's what I prefer. Select style. Then for the model, you can pick out from any of these. So here, let's see if let's go with Nano Banana Pro. This is going to give us the best quality. Here we can set up the aspect ratio. I'm just going to leave it at auto, which is going to keep pretty much the same proportion as here. Here we have the image size, and then we can also add a prompt. So let's say generate this image in mid-century modern style. And once I have entered that prompt, I can click here on generate, and it's going to start generating this image. Now, as I said, here we can use these apps as these nodes, but we can also use some of the other tools that we have here. So for example, draw or highlight or eraser, but let's just add some text here. So I'm just going to click here and say this is the original interior. There we go. And of course, you can modify this text. So if I select this, you can see we can use different fonts if we prefer. So perhaps something like this would be a bit nicer. Yeah, we can resize it, reposition it, change color if we want, and so on. So there we go. Now we have generated this image, and this is what that looks like. So as you can see, it looks pretty awesome. So I really like this result, but let's say that I'm not a big fan of this sofa here. So I want to use a different one. So what I'll do then is first I'm going to use the draw tool here just to say, okay, don't really like this sofa. We need to get rid of it. Then what we'll do next is I'm just going to go here to select, right click, go to apps, edit. And for this, let's use the conversational edit. Open that up. And then obviously I'm going to load in this as the base image, but here we also have the ability to load in a reference. So let's find a reference image. So what I'll do is I'm just going to search for it. So here we go. Let's see which is the best one. So I think this one looks really cool. So I'm just going to copy this image, copy image, go back to Rendair, right click or just Control V to paste, and yeah, it's going to paste that image here. And now I can load in this as the reference. So now we have our main image, we also have our reference image, and now we just have to describe what we want to do, and we also need to select the style and the model. So I like the style, realistic, we're continuing with that. I actually like Nano Banana 2 as the model, it's really powerful, so I'm going to prefer to use that. And here I'm just going to say remove the existing sofa and place in the one from the reference. Okay, so we have entered this, and then I can just go here to generate. You can see here it says 3 credits, so it's just telling us how much this is going to cost in credits, and here you can see your credit count. So with my Pro plan, I have 7,500 credits that I get each month for this, and as you can see, it doesn't really use that many of them for generating these amazing images. So let's go here and just add some text. So for example, I can say new sofa style, and yeah, we can perhaps change the font. There we go. And then here we have that. As you can see, it has entered this new sofa and it looks much better. So I'm quite happy with the way that this turned out. Now let's explore this even further. So for example, if I'm using this new sofa for the style, I would need this as a 3D model, perhaps to load into 3D software just to use it. So let's actually turn this into a 3D model. So I'm just going to go here, right click, go to apps, create, and then, or not create, but go to 3D. And then here we have two options, image to 3D model and image to scene. So let's go to image to 3D model. And then I'm just going to plug this in. And then it's going to use this model. It's the only one that we have for now. And yeah, it's going to cost us 2 credits. And I'm just going to click on that. And it's going to start generating an actual 3D model out of this image. And let's do the same thing for this one. But instead of using the option here to create a image to 3D model, I'm just going to use image to scene. Now, before we actually do that, we need to do one more action, and that's to adjust the proportions of this image. It's too wide, and then if we try to convert that into a scene, it might distort it a little bit. So we don't want that. So what I'll do in order to fix this, I'm just going to right click, go to apps, then go to create, and use image to render. And then here for my prompt, I'm just going to say create another view of this room, a wider angle, full view of the room. This is what we want. It's going to be realistic. And then for the model, I'm just going to go with Nano Banana Pro. Now, really important for the aspect ratio, instead of going with auto, I'm going to go with 5:4, just like this. And then I'm just going to feed this base image in, and now we can just click generate. Now this is going to take a few moments. Here I can say, okay, this is my kind of final design, so I can just draw on this picture here, draw a heart. I really like this one. And then going back here to the image that's being generated, and this is the end result. So as you can see, looks a little bit better, it's a little bit wider, and it's a lot more usable for the next step. So the next step is, again, right click, apps, 3D, and now let's go to image to scene. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to feed this in, and then I'm going to go with marble for this one, and let's just go generate. Now, while we wait for this to generate, and it will take a little bit of time just because it's creating an actual 3D model, I'm just going to go back down here to the sofa. So just let's check out the sofa. So here we have the option to view full screen, and now we can see what that looks like. As you can see, this is a full 3D model. It's incredibly accurate, judging from just feeding a single image into the AI, and this is what was generated. So looks really awesome. And then of course you can download this 3D model. You can also download images and everything else. So that's really, really powerful. Okay, now we're going to be taking a look at one of the features that's really cool, and that's the ability to collaborate right here inside of Rendair. So here we have this share button, and if I click on that, I can add pretty much anybody here. So I'll just paste the email of Elida, which she's on the Rendair team, and I can set it as a viewer or as an editor. I'll just set it as an editor and then go send. And now that's going to go as an invite, as an email, and then she can come here and take a look at my board. And here we go. So as you can see, we can see live how she's taking a look at the image that they have placed here. She can also leave notes or change anything if she wants. So there we go. She can, as you can see, she can comment. Okay, looks like she loves the sofa, so I'm guessing we're going to go with this one for the continuation of this design. And here you can see there's a comment, so you can just click on that, and you can even reply if you want. And just like that, so you can have like a quick comment conversation right here on the board. And then of course, if you want to close it, you just hit the escape key and we're done. Okay, now the image to scene process has been completed. I can select this, looks really good. So now if I hit view full screen, we will actually be able to navigate through this 3D space. So as you can see, it has completed this, added the 3D space. Here we can see the table with chairs. We can see the living room. It has also added a little bit in the background. Now, of course, you can try with different images, adjusting that. But yeah, overall, it has created quite an interesting space and an interesting 3D scene. So this really looks amazing. Again, you can download this if you want, or what I'll do in this case is I'm actually going to create a link that can be shared. So if I go back here to share options, you'll notice here at the bottom we have the option to create a public link. So if I check that on, here's a public link. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm actually going to paste this down in the description of this video and also up in the cards above. So click on that link. It's going to take you to my board so you can actually see this whole process from start to finish, and you can actually explore this board within Rendair. One thing that I do want to show you, and something that actually works really well, is this image to 3D model. I have already shown you what this looks like over here, and when you download this, it's a GLB file. So it's not something that Revit, for example, can read, but there are free tools online that you can use in order to convert that to OBJ, and OBJ is something that Revit can definitely read, and inside of Revit, this is what that model looks like. So I have opened this up as a family. I can save it as a family, load it into the project and use it. Obviously, it's not perfect and it's not native Revit geometry, which is usually what you don't want to use for a production model. However, this is really powerful as a placeholder, so you can use it just to kind of show what the direction of the design is, and you can also use it very easily to just model over this with Revit geometry to create a family such as this one. So if you work at creating basically 3D Revit families from actual products, loading those products into Rendair, turning them into a 3D model like this, bringing that into Revit, and then tracing over that could be a very powerful workflow to get actual Revit native geometry for pretty much any type of furniture or family you want to create. And that's going to conclude this video. So check out Rendair. The link is going to be up in the cards above and down in the description of this video. It's a really amazing workspace for architects, and it has a lot of tools, too many for me to test out in this video, so I would encourage you to check it out. Also, as I've mentioned at the beginning of the video, there is a giveaway. All of the rules are in the top pinned comment, so please check that out and follow those in order to perhaps win a 1 month off Rendair Pro. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.